Welcome to Both Sides of the Story, How to Notice and Note Both Perspectives in a Debate. This is going to help you with your Grade 5, Week 29 science project. So today we're going to go over how to find both perspectives in a debate. We're going to talk about why this is important, how to do it, and I'm going to go through and give you an example. So first of all, why is it important to find both perspectives? Well, when you're creating a full fleshed out argument, you need to know the whole picture. You also need to be able to make an informed decision, and you can't do that without seeing the whole picture and hearing both sides. And then also, once you decide which side you're on, it helps you to strengthen your argument by helping you with counterpoints. Counterpoints are when you go through and someone says, I don't like it because, you can go through and counter that point with a reason of your own. So now that you know why this is important, let's talk about how to do it. How do I find both perspectives? You're going to follow these 4 simple steps. First, you're going to determine the topic. Then, you're going to determine what decision is being made. Thirdly, you're going to decide what are the 2 sides of the argument. And then the 4th thing you're going to do is read or watch the content looking for information that matches either side of the argument. So now that you know the how, let's go try it out. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do this. I took you through the steps, but I definitely want to give you an example before I send you off to do this on your own. So the first thing you're going to do is determine the topic. So the article that I'm going to be reading today is about recycling. There's a lot to do with recycling out in the world, so let's determine what decision this article is debating. So the decision being made in this article is, should recycling be rewarded? So while I read, I'm going to be looking for the 2 different sides. The 2 different sides are, yes, it should be rewarded. No, it shouldn't be rewarded. It is pretty simple, and sometimes it's more complex, but for the most part it's yes, it should, no, it should not. And you run with it that way. So I'm going to go through, and in this case I'm going to be reading an article and looking for the information that matches first the yes side and then the no side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and read this aloud to you. Perspective number 1. Yes. People should be rewarded for recycling. San Francisco, California has a program that rewards recycling. San Francisco has one of the highest recycling rates in the United States. Meanwhile, Chicago, Illinois doesn't enforce recycling laws enough, and it has one of the lowest recycling rates in the country. By rewarding recycling, many cities would be cleaner. So the perspective was very clearly yes. Now, here were some reasons that this person wrote about. Gives a higher rate of recycling, and the example that they used was San Fran. Now, I did put just a little note here. I didn't write out the entire sentence because I'm noticing and noting from within this paragraph. So I am going to be using examples, but I'm going to be paraphrasing in my own words. The next thing that they did is they compared it to the lowest recycling rate in the country, which was Chicago. And so here I'm going through and I'm pulling out their counterpoint. And so I'm saying, okay, I'm comparing these 2 things and showing this is why this side is better versus this is the alternative. And finally, they drew the conclusion, this leads to cleaner cities. So now I'm going to go through and read the second perspective, which is no, people shouldn't be rewarded for recycling. So first things first, let's just go through and read the paragraph. People shouldn't be rewarded for recycling. They should recycle anyway because the world has a lot of waste. Recycling is just part of being a good citizen of planet Earth. Do people need a reward for throwing garbage in the trash? No, it's just the right thing to do. The same goes for recycling. It should be part of everyday life now. So their perspective was no. And now, while I didn't particularly find this as gripping of an argument as the first one, it's still really important that I look at this perspective and look at their reasonings, because I can actually pull a lot of counterpoints out of this to help me strengthen the side that I choose. So I'm looking at it, I'm going, okay, the reasons that they said people should just do it because it's the right thing, people aren't rewarded for other tasks. Now I noticed that they didn't give any examples of programs where rewards don't help, or they don't give an example like they did in the last one where they gave me solid data. They just said, here's another thing that you don't do, you don't get rewarded for, you should just do it. And while I love the idea that people should just do it, clearly people aren't. So I'm going to take this and go, well, these are the arguments they're using, and so I'm able to counterpoint them. And so that's why I went through and I put my noticings and my notes down under my reasons. Here's a quick recap of what we did in today's video. In today's video, we discussed the why and how of noticing and noting the two perspectives of a debate. We also modeled noticing and noting both perspectives in a debate. If you would like additional resources for this lesson, ask your teacher for the anchor chart that is embedded within the lesson. Now it's time for you to go and try this on your own. Good luck!